Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and the very first mission inspiration for 2026. So the prompts for January 2026 are obviously new beginnings. So your theme for this month is renewal, reflection, and fresh energy. And your ingredients to include in your art journal page this month are the colours black and white and shades of grey. You've to include circles or spirals, a feather image somewhere, could be cut out, it could be collage, it could be hand drawn, doesn't really make any difference. And then you've got handwritten words or a quote and a torn calendar piece. So there we go. Now I've stuck my prompt card already down on the inside front cover of my art journal, and I've left some space because this year what I may do after I've finished filming is actually do some actual reflections and a little bit maybe about what I was thinking as I was doing the art journal page. Maybe even if it's just down to any problems that I had in creating any kind of things that did work or things that didn't work. Or I might just make a list of the resources that I've used in the creation of the page. So that's what I'm going to do this year. So last year this was the art journal and I just stuck the prompt card down on the inside front cover and then did the page as we went along. So this year that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave some space. I may vary it top and bottom. I may put the card at the bottom and then so I can write on top, just so that it doesn't bulk out all in one place throughout the year. So black, white and shades of grey. So what I've done is I've got my black gesso and I've got my white gesso. I'm just giving them a quick shake up just to make sure they've not been used over the Christmas and New Year period, so they're probably all settled, possibly even separated a little bit in the pots. And I'm going to start randomly adding some black and white gesso down onto the page, and where they mix obviously they're going to turn into different shades of grey just to create a kind of motley background. So let me just move these up. I've also got some Posca pens. I've got some black and white Posca pens out, so I'm just going to pop those away for a second just because I need a more elbow room. So we'll start with the white gesso because that's going to be the easiest one to put down. Oh, that is a little bit crusty. All right, so this will work, or this will serve as kind of the base. That is quite thick. It may actually soak in quite quickly, so we may have to come back over with a second coat of this morning. So we'll use the white gesso as the base ground layer and then come back over maybe later. So it's very cold this morning, and when I came into my art studio, my art shed, my shoffice as it's sometimes called, because it's a shed basically, it was very cold and it's quite damp this morning, even though I'd had the heater on all night. Some of the prints that I'd done yesterday on the inkjet printer were still damp this morning, so I've had to heat gun and heat set everything this morning just because. Right, so I'm probably going to need two brushes for this. Let me just grab another one. There we go. I don't particularly want to contaminate the white with the black, so there we go. So let's grab some black using that brush. I'll just use the stuff on the lid. So we'll see how quickly this, there we go, that's better. See, the top part has dried fairly significantly, so let's take some white, drop that into there. And then we can bring that white back over this side and create some shades of grey. Right, so we're going to do like a motley, uneven background. just want to be able to see the brush strokes that I'm making. A bit more white just here. That's it. I love how you can see those lines in it. A bit more white there. Use this one just to blend. And it kind of just breaks up that block of colour. And we're just going to keep on going until it just feels right, until I'm happy, or it feels as though I'm just about done. For the background, that is, anyway. So I'm not going to go too dark, and I don't want to go too light either. Let's just grab a little bit of that black. Because I also want to leave a little bit of scope just for adding in some mark making. And I do want to add a little image. How I'm going to do that, I'm actually starting to contaminate my brushes now, so I might just have to do a quick clean up. There we go, that's more like it. A bit more darker at the top up there, I think. A bit more black in there, just a small amount. There, I think I'm happy with that background just as it is. Drop those into some water because I'm going to need to this morning. I'm going to really give that a quick blast with my heat gun. Alright, so that page is pretty much dry now. So what I want to do is I want to jump to this bit at the bottom, a torn calendar piece. So I've got a calendar for 2026, which I think is fairly appropriate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tear out the piece for January. And I'm going to glue that into the page using some matte medium, just so that it's in there. So we'll grab some matte medium, I'll put a little bit on there. Let's stick this down, I think somewhere down here first. A little bit on there, and then a little bit on the back. So adding it on the back of the piece as well as on the page minimises your chances of getting wrinkles and bubbles. If you just did one side, and one side would dry quicker than the other, so you'd probably end up with bubbles and wrinkles. That's why it happens. If you add it to the back and then onto the page and then go over quickly, then you're evening out as much as possible any chance of that wrinkling. Right, what I also want to do is I want to add in another one, but this time I'm going to put December 2026. So I'm going to add in the beginning of the year and the end of the year on the same page. So we'll add that at the top. I need a bit more, because although while we're doing the page we're thinking about the start of a new year, then we also have to remember that what starts also has to come to an end. But it's the journey in between that's important. So we'll add December and then January. I'm going to add a bit more because I want it to soak through. This one has already started to kind of blend itself, and we are going to add a bit more paint over the top once we're done. As with most things, there is a beginning and an end, an alpha and an omega. Okay, so that just cleans that up a little bit. Heat gun again. All right, so I've just noticed that Christmas Day this year, 2026, is actually on a Friday, which means Boxing Day is on a Saturday. So that means we'll be getting an extra bank holiday, peeps. For those of in the UK. So 1 extra day's holiday. Yoo-hoo! All right, so what I want to do now is just grab that white gesso again. And this time I'm just going to go over and just start to kind of, if I can, blend that into the page. Now, because we've added the matte medium, we will be able to wipe that back. So don't worry if it looks like it's too much. Okay, so dry it off. Even when it's dry, we can still wipe it off. So that's now dry. So, and the reason we can wipe it off is because we went over the top with the matte medium, which created a barrier in between the layers. So we now can just come back in and just gently there we go, reveal a little bit of that. Like it a lot. All right, so now it's time for a little bit of mark making. So I'm just going to go away and find my bits and pieces that I use for mark making, and then I'll be right back. So I found my mark making tub with all my bits and pieces, and I've just taken out 2 small circle taps. That's actually the centre of some poo bags, doggy poo bags. Never throw them away because they're very, very useful. And then the pot or the top of one of these kind of like bottles. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some black paint and then just start adding in a few dirty circles. Just randomly kind of around the page. And then the smaller one. And I'm just concentrating the marks. It's kind of like 3 little clusters. And I think, actually, no, I'm happy with that. I'm done with that. So I'll just put those to one side and let them dry au naturel. And then I can put the paint away, but wipe that away because I don't need that anymore. And then once again, just give that a blast to get those marks dry. Right, so you don't have to do mark making like that. If you wanted to add for your circles or spirals, obviously you can hand draw spirals with a Posca pen or any kind of black pen or white pen if you like. For the circles, they could be solid circles, so you can use your circle stencils if you want to, any type of circle stencil, or stamps. Bubble wrap, haha, that would be perfect, because that is, you know, a circle when all's said and done. So you could use bubble wrap stamps or the actual bubble wrap itself if you wanted to create your circles. There are 1,001 different ways to make circle marks. You could even just use your fingers, or even a dauber, a sponge dauber kind of thing, like one of those. You could just dip it straight in and go straight in and do some solid circles if you wanted to. There's 1,000 ways, like I said, to add the circles that you need for your page. Okay, so we've got the tone calendar pieces in there. We've got black and white and shades of grey, and we've got circles. All right, so I just need to do my feather imagery now. So I'm going to be very brave today. I'm going to hand draw a feather, which I've never done before. Oh, that's a brand new one. Let's see if we can find one that we've already used. Yeah, there we go. Let's just get that working. Give it a shake. So I'm using a Posca pen. This is a 3M one, the PC3M, which is the 0.9 to 1.3 millimeter nib. Just give it a shake. And just get some paint flowing. That'll do. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just very, very gently draw the outline of a feather. So we'll start down here, I think. And then I'm going to branch off and then start creating kind of like feather shape. To like there, and then we'll just branch off there, and then I'm going to come back down and then rejoin that down there to the bottom, and then I'm going to go right the way from top to bottom all the way down, and then all the way back up again, and then I'm going to just join in those bits along there. It kind of looks like a leaf, but it isn't. And then I can just start to bring in some more lines from the side. Let's get some more paint in that nib. One of my New Year's resolutions is I'm going to be braver with my drawing this year. So I'm just going to turn that around. Wipe that away. I'm going to end up getting it all over my cover if I don't. Or put my elbow in it, was what I usually do. Then what I'm going to do is just to add in a little bit of doodly detail, just because. And this is where you kind of start to lose yourself in what you're doing. Almost like a tribal feather. You can do Zentangles or whatever you fancy. just do doodles aplenty. But don't just consign yourself to your black. You could, if you wanted, come in and start using white as well if you wanted. So let's do a few curly cues coming off there, just to kind of give it a bit more depth. And then I can come in with the white pen. And that's a new one as well. I've not used that one before, but this one's alright. I'm not going to try and get it to pool, but I just want to just maybe fill in a few other details. And I can always come back and go back over the black lines if I want to. And this is one of those art journal pages where you can pretty much doodle yourself silly, really. Doodle yourself silly. So if you're going over a line, you know, just come back and just go back over again. I think I'm going to colour that one in white. See, I just have this notion then just to start colouring in. Oh, a bit too much flow there. I suppose it just helps it stand out just that bit more. From the background. Let's colour that back in, and then I can come back in and add those black dots again over the top. Let's just get it dry first. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that. It feels just about done for me, which is cool. I like that. Right, so now we've done that there. I'm going to also now add in some handwritten text. So the final thing for the art journal page is adding in handwritten words or a quote. So I'm going to use the Posca pen again like I have been doing already. And I'm going to try and handwrite my quote so that it fits into the page between these kind of like areas here. Haven't really worked out where I'm going to do it, so I'm going to just start at the top and just work my magic here. So I need fairly juicy nib to do the lettering. Because this is quite shiny, I can't really see what it's going to look like until it's probably finished. and I'm hoping I don't make any mistakes with my spelling. So we're going to go over the top of that. There we go. Let's put a few little quotation marks. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much happy with that. Not 100% happy, but that's fine. It's all a work in progress and a learning experience. It's a journey when all's said and done. So what I can do maybe is come back in a little while and just maybe reinforce the thickness in some of those letters. Just to make them stand out a little better, particularly up at the top. To make it a bit chunkier. And you can pretty much come back in, if you wanted to, add in a little bit more white, just to define your letters a bit more. It's pretty much just what you're happy with doing. You can thicken up wherever you want to go. But I think for me, I'm going to stop there for now because I'm on the verge. I can just feel it. I'm on the cusp of ruining it. And I don't really want to do that. So let me just quickly give that a blast with my heat gun. All right, so now that's dry, the last thing I want to do is I do want to add in some spirals. So, and I've just got one of my Ocean Care, Uniball Ocean Care pens. These are the pens that I made using that have some material from ocean waste, so it does help the environment. And I'm just going to add in, I think, just a couple of little spirals here and there, just to say that I have. You don't have to do a huge amount, but just one or two, just to kind of add in just that final kind of element that was mentioned earlier. And I think I'm going to stop there. So, did I sign my pages last year? I did sign my pages, so I'm going to do the same thing this year then. So, MDA in my little box. And today is the 3rd of January. the first art journal page of 2026. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create the first Mission Inspiration art journal page of 2026. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And don't forget, there on screen is the link for the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. If you want to join us this year, all you have to do is just pop down to the description below the video and you'll find a clickable link. A link below the video, and all you have to do is just ask to join. And if you're one of my club members, there will be a construction video over there where you can watch me create my Mission Inspiration art journal from scratch in easy steps for 2026. So that's already there waiting for club members. So all you have to do then is just pop across to the club section and it's there for you to watch. So that's it for me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.